Hey la Conexión friends, what's up? It's Jenna. I hope you guys are having a great summer so far despite being in quarantine and everything that's been going on. And I really miss you guys and visiting the Merriam Avenue Elementary School every Wednesday to help you guys with your homework and just to hear about how your day's going. So that's why today I decided to create a video to share a book with you guys that you can just easily access online and at home if you're bored or have run out of things to do while in quarantine. So this is the book I wanted to share today with you guys. It's titled Grandpa in the Library, and it's basically a real life story about a boy named Charles White and how he learned to paint just while observing different people in his everyday life and how he tried to better the world through art. This book can also inspire you guys to do something and help contribute in a time like this, even while doing something you guys enjoy, like Charles did, through painting, writing, drawing, or playing an instrument, whatever it is. So I hope you guys enjoy this book and video, and let's get to it. Grandpa and the Library, How Charles White Learned to Paint by C. Ian White, which is actually the son of Charles White. Dad, where are we going? We're going to the library to see a mural painted by your Grandpa Charles. Gordon, look! The words on the mural say, love, hope, dignity, and education. This is what he believed in, and this is what he wanted to share in his art. How did Grandpa Charles become an artist? Did he start when he was very young? As young as me? Even younger, Gordon. It started when Charles, my father, was about to turn 5 years old. Your great-grandma, Marsh, worked long days cleaning houses, and Charles was too old to go work with her. There were no preschools or daycare centers when your grandpa was 5, and babysitters were too expensive. So she took him to the Chicago Public Library each morning with his lunchbox. She reminded him to be polite, and then she went to work. She left him at the library all alone? All day, alone? Yes, all day. Great-Grandma Marsh assured the librarian that her son was a very well-mannered young man who would sit nicely in the corner with his books. And he did? Yes, he did. Charles liked the library. It was quiet, like home. The librarians were strict, like his mother. He couldn't read yet, but they gave him picture books about places he'd never been and the people who lived there. He looked at the books and watched the clock on the wall, waiting for the big hand to reach 12 and the little hand to reach 6. That was when Great-Grandma Marsh would come back. Your grandpa drew the shapes and figures he had seen in the books on pieces of scrap paper that his mother saved for him. He loved to draw. He drew landscapes like the ones in his books and people like the ones he had seen in magazines. He missed his mother when she was at work, and he wished he could draw her too. He thought about her cleaning windows and dusting furniture, moving quickly through the rooms of big houses. She could make a silver tray shine like a mirror. Great-Grandma Marsh began to take Charles to the Art Institute of Chicago on Saturdays. There they walked through rooms filled with paintings by great masters. What are great masters? Great masters are artists who worked very hard for a long time to be very good at what they did. From looking at their art, Charles learned that there were many things to paint and many ways to paint them. The following year, Charles started school and learned to read. In the afternoons when school was over, he went back to the library and read every book he could. Did he stop drawing? No, he got better at it. Now he enjoyed drawing the different people now he passed on the streets of Chicago as he walked home. When Charles was 7, Great-Grandma Marsh gave him a set of oil paints for Christmas. Oh, he was excited. He had never painted before. She tried them out but grew impatient. He was confused by the materials that came with the set, the sand, oil, and turpentine. The paint was very different from the pencils he was used to. Did he give up? Oh no. One day he was walking home past the Art Institute on Michigan Avenue. He saw art students in the park. They were painting landscape pictures and they had paints just like his. He overheard one of them say that they would be painting in the park all week. So he went back to the park the next day. He watched the students carefully and observed that they mixed a little sand, oil, and turpentine in a container and then added the paint. Every day that week he watched them work, and every day he learned a little more. Charles imitated them with his paint set using cardboard cut from boxes, but the paint soaked right into the cardboard. It wasn't like the material the students used. At home, Charles noticed that the window shade in Great-Grandma Marsh's living room looked a bit like that material. He cut out a nice big piece and painted a landscape on it. He was an artist. He thought his mother would be so surprised. She was surprised, all right, but she was not pleased. Charles was an artist, but he had a lot more work to do. He had to think about what he wanted his artwork to look like and what he wanted it to be about. Charles loved the history stories that he read in the library. He also loved his own family stories, which he learned from his Aunt Harriet, his Aunt Missouri, and his great Aunt Hasty. Every summer, his mother took him by train to visit them in Mississippi. They told him about his family, their mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, and about people who had been enslaved like great Aunt Hasty. They told him about life in the South and life in the country, about working on a farm. Charles wanted to tell these stories in his pictures. As he got older, he took art classes at the Art Institute. He learned more about painting and drawing. He discovered how to paint his stories in ways that showed how important they were to him. He never stopped learning about art, and he never stopped studying. He kept reading, and he kept looking at art, even when he grew up. What did Grandpa paint? Grandpa painted African Americans. He painted mothers, fathers, and children. He painted people who were enslaved and the people who worked to free them. He painted writers, musicians, scientists, and leaders. He painted them marching and singing, thinking about freedom and working to make the world better. He painted important people such as Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Harry Belafonte, and Mahalia Jackson. He painted portraits of strangers and loved ones, scenes of struggle and triumph. He painted murals that became part of the buildings they were painted on and the cities that the buildings were in. Charles became an artist and he also became a teacher. Some of his students are now famous artists just like him. He taught them how to make art about things that were important to them. He taught them that their voices, ideas, and stories were valued. And they are. That's the end of the story. And these are some paintings that show historical context. And I think these paintings and this story is very relevant to what's currently going on as the reemergence of the Black Lives Matter movement. And Charles White was a real person, and his son was the one who wrote this story. The end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the book, and there'll be many more coming, something similar like this. And please leave down comments on how you like this video or what other content you'd like me to create in the future. and go like and subscribe. See you guys next time.